Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about nomenclature, both for Copeland compressors and for condensing units.
Yep.
It's a pretty important subject, when somebody needs a service part, for either a compressor or a condensing unit. When you go to the wholesaler to buy those parts, it's really important um, to know the nomenclature to make sure that you get the correct parts. So we're going to go through the basic structure of the nomenclature, not necessarily all the details. We'll cover that both for condensing units and then also for compressors.
I agree with you, Ben. One of the most frustrating things has to be when you have to do the same job twice. So if you provide a contractor with what you think is correct and they get out on the site, they get there, they open, they try to install the part and it doesn't work. And it's because it doesn't fit. So one thing I would like to encourage all contractors and wholesalers, whenever possible, deal with the entire model number, all 15 characters in the case of a semi-hermetic compressor and a scroll compressor.
Very good. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right in and take a look at unit nomenclature.
All right, so what we have here, this is the nameplate here for a typical condensing unit. You see here it's on top of the fan shroud. On some larger units, it might be on the base somewhere, probably around the electrical box, down around this area. But on these smaller units, typically you'll see them up here on the fan guard, or the fan shroud, just because there's not a lot of room on the rest of the unit. As far as the nomenclature goes, you'll find all the Copeland units, the numbers will be divided up into these four little sections here. This first section, this kind of describes the family that the unit belongs to. It tells you the refrigerant and the application and whatnot. So you see here, this is an M-line unit. The 4 means it's a 404A unit. And then the F, that's usually the chassis style, whether it's an air-cooled or water-cooled or the chassis size. And then on the last digit here, the L, that's going to be your application code. In this case, the L means it's a low-temp unit. The next section is going to be your horsepower rating. Now, in this case, the first digit here is an A. That just means that there's been a revision to this unit, so it started out probably as a 0067, and we probably changed a condenser or something like that, so it's been changed to an A. So that's all that means, is it's a revision. And then the horsepower there comes over afterwards. That's just how we rate the unit. It really doesn't pertain to a capacity so much, especially when we start talking multi-refrigerant units, because the capacity can be widely different depending on what refrigerant is used in it. But in any case, that second section right there is really just for the relative size of the unit. The next section here is going to be your electrical codes. So this tells you whether it's a single phase or a three phase, what type of voltage it has, and then if it's an internal or an external protector and whatnot. The last digit here is the bill of material. This is really an important one. You notice here the first digit is 0. This is going to be either a 0, a 1, 2, or a 3. And that's going to tell you whether the unit is UL listed or if it's a UL recognized unit, or if there's no UL listing at all. In this case, it's a 0. That means it's a UL listed unit. So that means it's got the fan guard and the conduit, and it's got pressure controls and all these other UL safety devices on it. So it has all those regulations for it. Now, if that digit was a 2, that means that it would have all these safety devices, except it would not have any controls, like this high pressure control here or the low pressure control, which on Copeland units is going to be this electronic unit control that you see here. So if this was a 2 in this digit right here, then you would not have either of those controls on it. Now, you see here this 4. In this case, 4 means this is an OEM special unit. So this unit right here was designed specifically for a certain OEM in order to fit into their cabinet, with special connections. You see here, this one has a special electrical box on it, and it also has some refrigerant connections and and on it to make it easier to connect into the system. So anytime you see a 4 or a 6 in this middle digit, that means that it's going to be a customer or an OEM special unit. And then the last digit doesn't have any real significant meaning. It's just another variation of the unit.
Now that we consider condensing units, now let's take a look at compressor nomenclatures. I have two different compressors here, but as you can see, our first character is the letter Z. This represents that the family variation of the compressor. The P, the second character, designates the application that the compressor is designed for. The 385 is the nominal capacity and the K is the multiplier. So this would be 385,000 BTU compressor. The letter C is a model variation. The letter E is the oil designation, which is polyester in this instance. And then we move to the next section here, which is the motor code. The T designates that it's a 3-phase compressor. The letter E means that it has external protection. In this case, it would be the core sense protection. The letter D is the voltage rating, and the letter D in this instance would be 460 volts, and we talked about 3-phase. The last set of characters is the bill of material variation. Now, if you take a look at the first digit, that can help you understand if it's an OEM compressor, which could be anything from a 1 to a 5. The 5 would designate that it's an international model. A 4 could designate that it's tandem ready. And then if you move to the next character, this first six, it would designate if it's a rotor lock. And if it wasn't a 6, maybe it was a 3 straight tube. And then the last character is just the sequential number of the other two. We appreciate your time. Thanks for watching our blogs on compressor and condensing unit nomenclatures.
Right, and if you found this to be informational and helpful, please go ahead and hit the like button down below. And if you want to see future videos as we cover both more products and other informational and training type topics, please hit the subscribe button so you can be informed when those new videos come out.